Two guys either side of 50 with one dream to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Pilgrims, welcome back. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. I'm Steve Hinks and I am joined by Andy Walker. Andy Walker.
G'day, Mr. Hinks. How you going?
Welcome back.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
It's been a while.
Yeah, like, 48 hours?
It's been about that, yeah.
A little bit more, maybe, because Sunday afternoon, wasn't it, that we recorded the Olympics review?
It was, which was a lot of fun, actually. I was having a bit of a listen to that and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I hope somebody else thoroughly enjoyed it as well and it wasn't just me. But if it was...
Well, as long as you can entertain yourself.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, isn't it?
Nobody ever said that podcasting had to be for the benefit of others. It could just be to entertain yourself as you drive around town. But anyway, that was a lot of fun. Good to wrap up the Olympics for the next 4 years. A lot of good stuff that went on and a little bit of mediocre stuff that went on as well. Did somebody say breakdancing? Anyway.
Yes. Someone did say breakdancing, which is still going viral at different parts of the world. I noticed that there was an appearance on one of the US talk shows, which I think was a bit of a parody. So not that the Olympian appeared on the show, but it was a nice little parody. So the breakdancing performance, I think it was, that was appeared on the show.
Look, it reminded me of some other fantastic Olympic moments, Andy Walker, and I cast my mind back to our very own Sydney Olympics back in 2000 and that wonderful performance in I think it was the 100-metre freestyle by Eric the Eel Musambani from Equatorial Guinea. That was just absolutely fantastic. And I think from memory, he was literally going backwards as he hit the wall at the end of that race. So there's been a fine tradition of very ordinary Olympic performances.
They were talking about at that stage that the lifeguard perhaps may have had to jump in for the first time in Olympic history to go and save someone from in the pool.
Which is remarkable because, I mean, if you ever think about being in one of the most useless jobs in the world, an Olympic swimming lifeguard has got to be right up there.
Yeah. But they were needed almost.
Yeah, almost.
In the Sydney Olympics.
Yeah. Also reminiscent of another outstanding Olympian, Eddie the Eagle from Great Britain, the ski jumper back in the Winter Olympics throughout the probably late 80s,
I've never
early
been
90s.
Never been a big Winter Olympics fan, I have to say. It's never been high on the radar. I've looked, I've watched a couple of the bobsledding and luge and the downhill skiing as well. I quite enjoy the downhill skiing. So I guess the speed sports are quite good, but you get on the ice skating and.
Well, I mean, Australia's got a fine history in the ice skating, particularly in the short track speed skating, or as I prefer to recall it, the last man standing speed skating, Stephen Bradbury style.
It's not so much the speed skating; it's more the
figure skating.
The figure skating.
But you see, again,
can't say it's my cup of tea. But.
We come back to the point though that the speed skating you can beat the other guy, but in the ice dancing or the figure skating, you're relying on judges, Andy Walker. So.
That is correct.
We're right back.
Yes, you're right. At Stephen Bradbury. If anyone's not aware of, I'm sure everyone in Australia is aware of Stephen Bradbury, our first Winter Olympic gold medalist. But if anyone internationally is not, just look up Stephen Bradbury, and there was a great piece, Last Man Standing, that was done still on YouTube. I watched it not that long ago actually, and still. Sort of you look back and go, wow, that's just an amazing story.
It was very cool. And a lot of people do, certainly point a bit of fun in his direction. He was our first ever gold medalist in the Winter Olympics, which was just such an Australian way to win it as well. But, as he rightly points out, it was the culmination of, something like 20 years of training, all sorts of injuries. And he actually nearly bled out in an accident on a speed skating track where he was had his thigh slashed by someone else's skate. So
it was actually, I think he said the Olympics prior.
Yeah, right.
To the Olympics, he basically rode into the back of someone's skates and split his leg open, which was a very, very serious injury. But then he also he broke one of his vertebrae, I think, in his neck.
Yes.
Was really close to paralysis.
Yes.
And he was in a neck brace. There's a photo of it, and it comes up on the Last Man Standing clip. But he was in a neck brace for I don't know how long it must have been, but yeah, it wasn't that long before that Winter Olympics. It was like 10 months or something beforehand. So it's just an amazing story.
Yeah. So good on him.
And then he's had 8, 9 blokes fall over over like the quarters. He said in the quarters that was the one where he skated best.
Really well, yeah. And because the semi-final there were a few people fell as well, and then the final people fell.
Yeah, correct. Because that's what he says. He says, well, he was being honest with himself, and he was like, I can't beat these blokes. I'm not that good. So I'm just going to stay out of their way.
Stay out of trouble.
See what happens. And they all fell over.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, it happens. Not only on the golf course do the people in front of you fall over. It can happen in ice skating as well, which is a really ordinary segue, but I did want to try and bring it back to golf in some way, shape or form. So
it is a golf podcast, but I mean, we do cover quite a lot of sports here.
We do. We love our sport. So tonight, Andy Walker, there is a bit to cover. So I have had a competitive round over the weekend, which we'll get to in just a moment. You have gotten yourself out onto the golf course for the first time in quite some time, which I can't wait to hear about how that went. I'm sure the Pilgrims can't wait to hear about how that went as well. There's been a lot of concern, actually, for your injury thrown around on our social media channels from some very well-meaning Pilgrims. I'm sure you appreciate the support. And then we've got some competitive tournament updates to run through.
Yes.
So there is a
big month next month, and that then sort of leads into was more November than October. I think September is going to be a big month, and then November potentially is going to be a big month.
November will be a big month. So we might jump in now. Pilgrims on Saturday just gone. I got out there on the course, playing in the local competition at my club. It was a lot of fun. It was a beautiful day. The bad news is, Andy Walker, it was not an individual event, so it does not count for me in our yearly championship, even though it was a competitive round. Controversial. But it is what it is. It was an Ambrose event. It was a 2-man Ambrose event. So 2 players. I'm assuming everyone listening to the show would understand what Ambrose is, but if you don't...
Well, it's a scramble. So in the US, it's a scramble.
It's a scramble. So you both hit a shot, you pick the best shot, and you go from there. The only caveat to that is that each player has to register a minimum of 6 tee shots.
Right.
Throughout,
so it's a 2/3, 1/3 minimum, effectively.
Correct. They don't have to be drive, so they could be on a par 3, but it has to be 6 tee shots throughout the round. So there can at times be a little bit of strategy that comes into play with picking shots, and you have to keep track of who hit the tee shot. So anyway, that was the format. So 2 players. So the way that it works is you add your handicaps together and divide it by 4, and that's what you get given as a daily handicap for the pair. So I was off 7. My partner, who for the purposes of this story we'll call Dave, largely because that's actually his name, so that's easier to remember. He was playing off 11, so together we were 18, divided by 4 was 4.5, so we were playing a 4.5 for the day. So it's a stroke event, count every shot, take your handicap off at the end. So do you want to hear how it went, Andy Walker?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So probably worthwhile we cover off who hit the tee shot on each of these shots, because you might want to keep track of that because it's interesting. So anyway, teed off on the first. The first is par 5. And the strategy was, since I generally hit the ball a little bit further, that Dave decided he would be the first player to tee off on each hole, and he would try and get one in play on the fairway and give me a chance to step up and give it a good, honest rip.
Rip it.
Which, to be perfectly honest, is about the only way that I know how to hit a driver anyway. So it didn't really change the strategy. So anyway, with that strategy in mind, we get up onto the first tee, out of bounds down the right, whole golf course to the left, and Dave put his drive out of bounds.
Awesome. So in wanting to take the pressure off you, not so much.
Didn't really work to plan. So I stepped up.
So
Yep. Sorry.
Did you follow him?
No, I did not follow him. I went up the left side of the fairway.
That would have been a story.
It would have been a story. It would have been a bad story. That's not how it worked. I went up the left side of the fairway. Kind of ran through just a little bit, but it was fine. It was just on the left edge. So we were in good shape. We both hit our seconds up towards the green, then chipped on, nearly made the birdie putt, but tap in par, Andy Walker. So it was a good start. So we went to the second tee, slight dog leg to the right, par 4. Dave stepped up, as was the strategy, and sliced his drive into the trees on the right. Took the pressure off nicely once again. Fortunately, I hit one up the middle, hit an 8-iron to about 12 feet. So we're 2 greens in regulation from 2 holes at this point. Again, just missed the birdie putt, tap in par. So still even. Takes us to the third, Andy Walker. So as was the strategy, Dave steps up and sliced his drive into the trees on the right again.
At least he's consistent.
You're sensing a theme here.
Yeah.
A little bit of frustration I feel was starting to build at this point. Fortunately, I managed to hit the fairway and hit the green, 2-putt, tap in par. So we go to the fourth tee. Slight dogleg right, long par 4. What do you think happened here, Andy Walker?
Oh, look, if I was to take a guess, I reckon Dave's maybe hit it right.
No, he hasn't.
Okay. Hit it left?
He's overcorrected and hit it left. He's duckled it into the left trees.
Good one.
So thanks again, partner, for taking the pressure off. Fortunately, I did manage to hit a drive up the middle and another 8-iron to the centre of the green for a nice, easy 2-putt tap-in par.
So when you say you're playing at Ambrose, really it sounds like you're playing an individual event.
I was at this point.
Excellent.
But I was quite happy because through 4 holes, I was 4 greens in regulation and 4 2-putts. So we were going along okay. I was feeling like I was playing really, really well. And then we got onto the fifth. Fifth is relatively short, par 3. Very happy to say that Dave got himself on the board. He hit a nice iron onto the centre of the green, and he actually made the putt for an individual birdie.
Oh, nice.
So really brought.
So that would have made him feel a bit better.
That made him feel a bit better. Before we got to then the 6th, where again he sprayed his drive out to the left, so left it up to me to find the fairway, find the green for another par. On the 7th, really impressed to see that he finally got his driver sorted and he got one down the middle. And then his golf ball was sitting on the fairway, looking up to the sky, watching my golf ball sail over its head another 30 or 40 metres down the centre of the fairway. So again, we took my drive. But we did make par.
That's a bit of a risk at this point in time, because given that out of 6 holes, Dave's got 1 drive out there. So
pressure was starting to build.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you didn't think about just taking the drive just to get...
We thought about it. We did think about it. And the reason that we didn't is because it was par 5. Mine had got us into territory where we could get to the green in 2.
Yeah. But in hindsight.
I will get to hindsight, don't you worry.
Because I was going to say on 7, if you've only made par.
Yeah. Well, what happened was, Andy Walker, so I hit a good drive. I was in the middle, hit my 5 wood, which I thought would have been the number to the front, maybe centre of the green. absolutely laced it over the back of the green.
Mm.
And that green, as you may recall, is quite heavily sloping back to front.
Yep.
So it was difficult up and down. We didn't quite make the up and down, but we tapped in for par.
Mm.
So we then go to the eighth. The eighth is longish par 3 down the hill. We both missed the green. Mine was sort of about a metre or so, probably about 2 metres short of the front edge to a front flag. Dave was about probably 15, 20 metres short and slightly right. I, at this point, was advocating strongly to take his ball. Yep. He, on the other hand, went, no, I'll be fine on the back 9. I think we take yours and I can putt from here, which in retrospect was not a bad decision because he hit the putt from the fringe and very nearly dropped it. It hit the flag stick and just jarred out, but we tapped in. We tapped in for par. We then got to the ninth. The ninth has a dogleg left with out of bounds up the right. And as a right-hander who does have a bit of a fadey slice, unfortunately my partner, playing for safety, slapped one out of bounds once again. Heaping the pressure back on. But good news is we got another drive away up the middle and we're able to hit another green in regulation for a 2-putt par. So
taking stock here.
Yes, after 9.
After 9. You got to have a minimum of 6 holes where the minimum is someone has to tee off at least 6 times or take the ball at least 6 times. Dave's got 1 out there.
Correct.
9 holes to play. All of a sudden in 9 holes, that's a minimum of 5.
Yep.
So at this point in time, were you just going, I'm just going to put my driver away and you're going to hit the driver and we're going to take that?
You're going to see what happens in the back 9 because it does get interesting. But before we move to the back 9, I do want to kind of take you through a couple of stats, right? So we were 1 under par as a team, which was a pretty good front 9. Okay, like I was quite happy with that. 1 under. It's probably not going to be enough to win a scramble because scrambles always come in with some ridiculous scores. Yep. But I thought we were playing some solid golf. So when you're looking at that, we had.
And when you say we,
well, this is what I'm about to get to because this is where the stats get interesting. So out of that, we had hit 8 out of 9 greens in regulation. One of them being Dave's on the 5th.
Yep.
So I was feeling quite good about personally hitting 7 out of 9 greens in regulation. Now, when you look at it and you go, all right, well, over 9 holes, and it's par 36 for that 9, so 18 shots in general play, 18 putts if you're playing regulation. We had 19 shots in general play because we'd missed the 1 green.
Yep.
Of those 19 shots, I had hit 16 of them. David hit 3. One of them being the putt from the fringe that hit the flagstick. And another one being his tee shot on 5 and the other one being a second shot on 1. So in terms of ball striking, like this was not an individual event, but I wish it was, Andy Walker, because I honestly feel like this was some of the best ball striking that I've put together pretty much ever.
Do you feel as though maybe it was just not a lot of pressure, just going to go out and swing it, not really think about it sort of too much because it's not an individual event?
Oh, potentially. But at the same time, half the time it had become an individual event by the time I stepped onto the tee box anyway. So, but I think absolutely there's something in that. But I mean, I don't know. I like playing in competitions more so than I like playing social golf. And a lot of people talk about they play better when they're, say on their own, or they play better when they're playing social golf. I actually find it the opposite. I tend to play better when it means something and when I've got to concentrate. So I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. For me, in comparison, I'm not. There's not a lot of difference between my social scores and my competition scores. I'll have a tendency to score fairly similar in both. But interestingly, I also find that there's not a lot of difference between my home club scores and when I go away and play on other courses. There's not a lot of difference between the scores. I find is for me it's golf, and yeah, my scores all seem to be pretty consistent regardless on what basis I'm playing, whether it be home club social, home club comp, or away comp or away social.
Yeah, I think there's truth in that. I actually think as well that we're in Australia, probably this affects us slightly differently because we have to play competition golf all the time to post scores for handicaps.
Yeah.
And it's one of the fundamental differences between, say in the US where there are less club comps, is my understanding, available for people to play in unless you're playing a member guest or the club championships, which is once a year. There's not that sort of same opportunity to be playing competitive tournament style golf week in, week out like we get in Australia. And I think they do in the UK as well. It's probably quite similar. So you do get a lot more practice at it, and I think you get a lot more used to it. And you have, you always have to play the full rules of golf. There's no options for gimmies. There's no options for, mulligans or breakfast balls or whatever you want to call them. Golf is golf. You hit every ball and you put it in the hole.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it's interesting because the more you play in competition, the more used you get to playing in that environment.
Yeah.
And I've also found that going away and playing in competitions, you come back and play just in the local, for me, it's a Tuesday comp. For me, that's, there's just no pressure there. Like it's a competition round, but there's no pressure to really put a score on the board, even though I'm trying to.
No, absolutely. There's no substitute for experience on tournaments and competition. I think friend of the show, John Sherman, would probably agree with that.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
So the back nine, Andy Walker, you interested to hear how it went on the back nine?
Well, given the front nine has been quite interesting, let's hear what's happened on the back nine.
Well, let's make the turn. Let's go to the back nine. So we go to the back nine. So 10, par 4, slight dogleg left. We kept the same strategy. Dave opening the batting for us and going out and hitting first.
Didn't want to shake it up at all?
Oh, look, we had the conversation. We felt, no, it was going okay. We were 1 under par, so we're pretty happy with that. So we went out. Dave hit his drive, hit probably one of his better drives of the day up the middle. And to your point before, I still did pull driver and have a swing just for fun.
Just to see what happened. Yep.
And hit another one up the middle about another 20 or 30 metres past Dave. But at this point we went, nah, hang on a minute.
Yeah. You got to take.
We have Dave's got to make the right decision at this point. So, because there's also a couple of quite long par 4s on that second nine that we knew that we might need the extra distance. So we didn't want to have to only have one shot at it. So we took Dave's, knocked one onto the green and 2-putt par, quite safe. So that was good. We move on to 11, par 3. What is it? It's about 160 metres, roughly. Unfortunately, we both missed the green, kind of short-sighted ourselves. Pin was tucked over the right-hand bunker. We were both just sort of to the right of the right-hand bunker. We obviously took Dave's shot because there was no advantage doing anything else. Chipped on 2-putt bogey. First shot given back to the field.
I was going to say it's not ideal in a Ambrose,
It's not ideal. It was one of those things though, like, honestly, I hit what I thought was as good a chip as I could, but because it's got a bunker with a very big shoulder on it, that it just hits the downhill and goes 20 feet past. There is no way at that range either that you're going to get any spin on the ball to be able to fly it past onto the flat of the green and do anything. So I don't know. I think you have to hit the flag stick in that situation. Which we nearly did, but we didn't. So we made bogey. Simple, really. 11, we stepped up on... Sorry, that was 11. We stepped up on 12. So 12 is the infamous par 5 with the water all the way up the left. Dave hit a good drive. I did not pull the driver out of the bag. I just went, congratulations, let's head
We're
up there
taking
and take
Okay.
that and hit our second. Didn't want to tempt fate again, Andy Walker.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, it's a long par five anyway. I mean, you're going to be struggling to hit it in two, even when you hit your best drive. It's not necessarily a percentage play to then pull another wood
There's
out
just
and,
no
and
need.
go for that. Yeah,
He was up the
isn't.
middle. He was up the middle. So we played sensible golf after that. Dave then hit one. He hit a hybrid up to to the corner past the second lake. I had a lash at it with the 5-wood and actually found the greenside bunker.
All right. Yeah.
So we made par on that one, which was, no, we didn't. I lie. We did not make par. Dave sunk a birdie putt.
Oh, nice. Nice.
We made
So
birdie.
there you go. Good conservative decision pays dividends.
Yes, it did. It did. So that was exciting. So that made up for the bogey on the hole before. So on 13, long par 4 out of bounds up the left. Happy to say Dave hit a reasonable drive up on the right-hand side of the fairway. Long par 4, though, it's going to be a long way out. So I did pull driver, smoked one past him again, and we took that one.
Yep.
But we both missed the green with our approaches and unfortunately couldn't up and down, so it was another bogey. So it was getting a little bit scrappy at this point.
Yep.
So we had to pull it together. So we went to 14. Dave hit a nice drive up 14.
We've got 5 holes to go,
Mm.
and Dave still needs 2 drives or 2 tee shots.
2 tee shots, that's right. So we got to 14. He hit a good drive, so we took it. We hit our second on 2-putt par. We get to 15, par 3 up over the water, up the hill. Dave did not hit a good tee shot.
Well, I mean, you've got holes to spare at this point in time. I mean, 4 holes to play. He's got 1 tee shot left.
Yep. And let's just say with 3 holes to play, he's got 1 tee shot left. But we did make par. We got up and down. My tee shot was over the back of the green, then we got up and down from there, which was a pretty good effort.
So you're even par at this stage through 15, yeah?
We are. That's exactly what we are. We're 1 over for the 9, but we're even for the round.
Yep.
So we get to 16, another par 5, slight dogleg left. Dave hits a good drive up the middle.
Take it.
I leave the driver in the bag.
Good move.
Pressure
So done.
is off.
Yep.
And we hit one down, lay up, hit a third in and 2-putt par. 17, long par 4. Dave hits a nice drive down the middle. So I really try and wind up. And it was actually the first fairway I missed all day, Andy Walker.
Yeah, right. Okay.
On 17. So we took his drive, which was good, and we then got up and down for par, which was nice. And then on 18, again, unfortunately, Dave hits a poor tee shot, but I hit a pretty good 5-iron, which just went over the back of the green on 18.
I was going to say, because 18's not your favourite hole either.
It's not my favourite hole, but I made an individual par on this hole,
Nice.
Hitting 5-iron over the back and then chip on and 1 putt. So all in all, it was an even par round, which was pretty good.
Nice. Well,
I was pretty happy.
Even par in any format is a good result, I think.
It was. So when we look at that throughout all of the whole round, so it was par 71, so we shot a 71 off the stick. We had 30 putts.
Yep.
Which means that we had 41 shots in general play, including chips around the green, etc.
Yep.
Of those, just for those playing along at home, if you're interested, we used 25 of mine and 16 of Dave's. Obviously, had to make sure we had the 6 and 6, but
yep.
I think, in all honesty, Andy Walker, I felt like it was one of my better ball striking days that I've had in a long time, and I think the work in the Missing Links Golf Show High Performance Centre is genuinely paying off.
Nice.
which
Nice.
is good. Also would like to give a big shout out to my partner who made 2 birdies off his own bat in the round, which was impressive, one on each nine.
Nice.
So
Nice.
may not have found many fairways, but he found 2 birdies. So
Well, look, I mean,
team game.
it's also good. It's also good that, you know, after 9 holes, only having taken 1 tee shot, to then turn around and actually put it all together and have it all done and dusted by 16. I mean, that's a good recovery and a good comeback from, a fairly ordinary ball striking front 9.
I think it was. And I think the good thing was that there was good levels of banter within the group, as you might imagine. So there was no real pressure. There was no stress. We were having a good day. It was a Saturday afternoon. It was beautiful weather. Just nice to be out on the golf course, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, good. Yeah, sounds like a good day.
You were missed.
Yes, even though I don't get out to Dubbo that often.
No, you don't. It's fair. And when you do, you tend to hit a ball halfway up a tree and try and baseball swing it left-handed. So I don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe that's for the best.
But look, it's I need to get out to the Central West again at some point, which potentially we may be going to a different area of the Central West.
Ooh.
Which look, we'll cover that later in the show, I think, because
it's a teaser, is it?
Yeah, we did say that we'd cover where I'm at first. So I think maybe we'll leave the events side of it till a bit later.
Okay. So yes, unless you've got any more questions about that Ambrose event, although for those playing along at home, I think there was just shy of 80 pairs in the event, and we came in 20th on handicap. Okay. I don't know what it was.
Where'd you come off? You don't know where you came off the stick.
I'm not sure off the stick. We came in 20th on handicap.
In a club competition, there wouldn't be too many players, too many pairs that would have gone even par or better.
Oh, I think there was a few. There was a couple of pairs that had, say, very low single digit handicapper and a plus handicapper. There was a couple of pairs like that.
Yeah.
There were. I will do a little bit of research.
You would have been, because you said 20th. You came gross, yeah.
Yeah.
You would have come better
net,
than that. Sorry, net. You would have come better than that gross.
You would think so. It is very difficult to tell because they don't rank it like that. I've just got the result sheet up in front of me. They don't actually rank it like that. They
fair enough.
They only show the net score. But I mean, look, we were off 7 and 11. The groups in front of us were off 8 and 16, 11 and 13, 16 and 21. So we're probably beating these guys. 27 and 10, 14 and 13. And then we get into 4 and 12, 3 and 31. Now that's an interesting pairing.
So and
8 and 19, 9 and 18, 10 and 10, 18 and 6.
The 3 and 31, I reckon, would have gone all right if they had a combined well.
I know the 3 handicap is a quality golfer. They've got 21 and 13, 17 and 13. Then there's a 2 and a plus 3, and 18 and a 2, a 10 and a 3, 16 and a 1. 19 and 15 and 11 and 11 won it. But there were only 5 shots in front of us. So there wasn't a huge amount in it.
So how does it work then if you've got 2+ handicaps?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Because how do you divide that by 4 and not go up?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you've got, say, a +2 and a +2.
Yeah.
Like you end up at +1. Like how does that work?
I don't know. So this is interesting. Okay. The team that were made up of a +3 and a 2.
Yes.
They ended up playing off a handicap of -0.25.
Yeah.
So the +3 handicap has gone up.
Yeah, you've got a better handicap when you're a plus golfer in an Ambrose.
That is a rort.
Bit like our yearly championship. Sounds like.
I will be writing a strongly worded letter to the club after that. That's a very good pickup.
Yeah, because as you were talking about it, I just and when you said the plus handicap, I just went, how does that even work?
Yeah, well, apparently it goes in the wrong direction. So Ambrose events are not made for plus handicappers, but there's something anyway. Yeah, good pickup.
Yeah,
There you go.
Interesting.
Yep, nice work, Andy Walker. Well,
so you're pretty happy at the moment where the game's at and where it's heading, and you've got a reasonable amount of confidence heading into the back half of the year. Yeah,
we haven't spoken about velocity in a little while.
No, we haven't.
I feel like the velocity of my game is the best it's been.
Yep.
T to green. I'll talk short game in a moment. I've never felt so sort of confident or comfortable with my swing as what I do at the moment.
Yeah.
And just I honestly feel like a better golfer than I was certainly when this show started.
Well, you are.
Well, you'd like to think so. I genuinely believe that I am. I mean, my handicap's better.
Your handicap.
But it's not an enormous amount better. It's 2 shots better. It's 20% better. But I feel like compared to what I was like when I was playing off 10, I feel like I should be off about 5. I feel like I'm hitting the ball that much better. I'm about a club longer than I was then.
And it's quite interesting. I mean, and it's like most sports in that golf, there are levels, and we've talked about this before in that you've got potentially a glass ceiling that you just can't quite break through at the moment. You can feel yourself getting better, and you feel like you're a better golfer, but your results don't seem to show just how much better your golf is. But all of a sudden, you'll break that ceiling, and then 3 or 4 shots will disappear from your handicap, and then you'll be on 4 or 5. And sounds like that's not far away.
I feel like for the first time, I'm actually really starting to believe that that's likely.
Yep.
And that I'm playing to that kind of a standard. Now, the problem though, and probably the reason why it hasn't really happened yet is I really haven't had the chance to play enough competitive golf and put enough handicap rounds in for things to kind of go in that direction.
Yep.
But B, being winter and with the shortness of the days and the lack of ability to get out and do any real world practice that's outside of the garage, I haven't been able to spend any time in the short game, and I do really feel like that's a bit wobbly, and that needs work. And that as soon as we get to daylight savings, as soon as we get into October, and we're able to get out there and spend a good hour or 2 after work, working on that, then that's absolutely going to be what my focus is, because that I know is that's the reason. Like that's the area where the shot's going to drop.
Yep. Fair enough.
So that I think is the area where I don't have the same confidence, but now ball striking I absolutely do, and just hitting drivers straight all day, with the exception of the last shot, which to be honest is because I was really trying to wind up on it anyway, because I knew we had one in the fairway. Which
potentially may not have happened if you were playing in an individual event.
Also the group behind us that we knew had, kind of were there on the tee as well, having a bit of a chat, and it was sort of the late in the day, concentration levels. Like if I was marking the psychological mental game scorecard on that, it would have been a fail on that shot. No question. Absolutely no question. So I don't read too much into that. It's not a swing issue. That was a mental issue. But definitely the ball striking on that day, like it felt so good. And even to the point where some of the guys in the group, there were remarks like, geez, it sounds different now. Which is good. It definitely feels different. I know I'm finding the centre of the face a lot more than I used to. So there's a lot more consistency. So anyway, long may that continue. But the short game needs work. Andy Walker, chipping and pitching still a little bit of a lottery.
Yep.
And putting still, I shoved a couple there's still a little bit of work to do there.
Yep.
So it's not all rosy, but there's definitely progress.
It's not all Justin.
No. Also, Rosie's the name of my dog. It's not all Rosie puppy. That's a very random anecdote. But anyway, I guess the point is that it's no surprise, because what I've seen improvement in is the stuff that I have been working on and practicing. Who would have thought?
That's a surprise, isn't it?
Isn't that amazing? But it's good because it reinforces the fact that you can make progress.
Mm.
You know, if you want to make progress, you can do it, and it's not as hard or as onerous as potentially it might appear. And it's not been through enormous overhauls or swing changes. It's been through just some targeted practice of doing a couple of things and doing it with purpose, repeatedly, not for long periods, but just little bits regularly. That you start to see the difference. So I definitely think there's something in that. Hopefully I can do the same with the short game. And, we've got a time scale on it now that we need to have some serious improvement by, because, as we'll talk a little bit later, some exciting stuff on the calendar.
So where do you feel your mental game is at the moment?
I think it's probably better than it's been. That's probably the other element that's really helped.
How's the meditation going?
Probably eased off on that a little bit, but I don't know. I still don't know that it's made any difference at all. Realistically, I really don't. No, but you know what has helped? The thing that has helped is, and I can't speak highly enough for this, is using the think box, play box method from what is it, Lynn Marriott and Pia Nielsen.
Yep.
I've just found that so useful.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. I feel the same way about mental golf type, in that the framework that it's provided me to be able to compartmentalize and focus on the right things has been outstanding. So yeah, completely understand.
I'd agree with that too, actually, because one of the things that's helped me out of the mental golf type has been understanding that my mental golf type is actually really in tune with the stuff that's going on externally. Being that more extroverted personality type, I do get impacted on by the things that happen around me. So understanding that, and then having the strategy that says, don't try and block it out, because you're not going to be able to, but it's okay to hear it. It doesn't mean that you need to focus on it, but just let it wash over. Like, it's there, understand it, and move on. Don't try and fight against it, and don't try and kind of lock yourself in a bubble, because it's never going to work. So I would agree with you. I do think understanding yourself and how your brain works a little bit more actually is really helpful. But the thing with the think box, play box part that's really worked has been, I, like probably so many recreational golfers, have had a really bad habit of not having a clear enough plan about the shot that I want to play before I go and play the shot. You maybe don't do the thinking and the planning part well enough. That's one of the things that you really see in the pro game, when the caddies and the player really problem solve a situation, and they kind of work it through, that this is the number, this is what we're going to play, this is the target, this is the shot shape, blah, blah, blah. How often do you do that yourself when you've got a bit of an iffy shot, or do you just go, I think it's a 6 iron, hit and hope, and then unsurprisingly it doesn't work out? So going through that process of making a genuine decision and committing to that decision, and then getting over the ball and just trying to execute that decision that you've already made, so you're not second guessing yourself over the ball. That's made a huge difference.
And that's the whole thing, is that by the time you're over the ball, you need to be crystal clear on what you're trying to achieve. The whole sort of thinking part of it, and strategy, and making your mind up as to what you want to do, that needs to be over by the time you're ready to walk into the ball and play. That the only thing you need to be thinking about is execution.
Yeah. And I think the same can be said for putting. I think there's times when you might look to read a putt and you're not 100% sure. Like, does it go a bit left? Does it go a little bit right? Is it straight? Am I reading too much into it? And so it's easy to step over the ball to hit the putt and maybe just sort of hit it in the general direction of the hole, but you haven't really committed to it. So that's going to affect your stroke. And that's why I like using the line to aim it up, because even if I haven't necessarily read it right, I've made myself make a decision and commit to a line that I then have to execute. Whether that's the right or wrong line, at least I've made a decision because I've had to line it up to something. So
yeah, it's interesting because I've talked to David McCollum a couple of times about putting and what he does, and he said that if he isn't sure on the line, if he doesn't know whether it's going to go left to right or right to left, he'll just hit it at the hole.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's it. Like, he'll just make his mind up. If he's got those little doubts at all, he'll just go, okay, I'm not 100% sure whether this is going to go left to right or right to left, so I'm going to hit it at the hole.
Yeah,
but
he's making a decision.
See what happens. Yeah, exactly.
That's the
exactly
critical
what
point.
It is.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because the worst thing you can do is go, I'm going to hit it in the general vicinity of the hole, and
exactly, and that's what he's trying to avoid doing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And even I think this is something that I want to work on around the green. Like there is having a couple of short game shots, like if it's the bump and run or the higher pitch, or even potentially flop or whatever, and making sure that when I get to hit a short game shot, I'm actually doing that same process of going, this is what I want to do and this is how it's going to look and how it's going to feel and where it's going to land, and really, picking that landing spot rather than just trying to stand over the ball going, I want to nudge it closer to the hole. I feel like potentially that's where there's some low-hanging fruit on the short game.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's interesting because I found that picking a landing spot, of course, you look at or you read what Bob Rotella has to say about. He reckons you should be holding or looking to hole every shot, but specifically within 100 meters, he's saying that your aim point, what you should be aiming for is to hole it, and that should be your focus. Where more around the green, my focus is my landing point, where I want to land the ball, not so much. I'm not thinking about holding the shot, which is a bit different to what he's saying and he's recommending. So, yeah, I think it's it's horses for courses, and I'm sure that trying to hole a chip shot or a pitch shot works for some people, but for me, certainly, if I'm really clear about where I want to land the ball, and then as you know, I'm using the clock system with my chipping and pitching. If I've got those two things working in order in that framework, then that works for me the best.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I mean, I guess the aim of the exercise is to hold the shot whenever you're sort of within range, but that also potentially does open the door for being a bit too aggressive at times and making some errors as a result.
Yeah.
Because I think there are some short game shots, even when you're around the green, there's some short game shots where you go, this is a mistake I can't make. Whether that's going, there might be water on the far side of the green or whatever, but there's certain times, I guess, when you've got to be a bit more defensive.
Yeah, correct.
I'm not going to argue with Dr. Bob, but yeah.
Well, it's interesting because he's pretty much a one size fits all. That he's written his book basically, and look, don't get me wrong, it's a great book, and I've got a lot out of it. Both his books that I've read. However, I find that something like Mental Golf Type works a lot better because it's more tailored and more individual to what I am and who I am as a person, rather than a blanket approach, which sort of is a more traditional sport psychology approach.
I can see the truth in that. Absolutely. Well, whilst we're speaking about you,
yes,
shall we? What's been happening?
Yeah. Well, look, I've had a bit of a layoff, as the Pilgrims are aware. Past couple of weeks, haven't really done too much. Went away on holidays throughout the middle of July, and I did come back and hit a couple of balls in the high performance center, and I wasn't overly confident and felt a little bit of sort of tenderness and it's mainly my sternum now. It seems as though initially the initial injury was sort of the lower part of my right ribs. However, the secondary injury that sort of after I seem to have recovered from the lower part of my right ribs, then when I played in June, that's when the sternum reared its ugly head, and that's the one that's ongoing. So whether it's the same injury, it's a compensating injury, I'm not sure. Still haven't sort of worked that one out, but I felt a bit of tenderness there. So I thought, no, it needs a little bit more time. So I've given it some more time. Obviously, we had Evan Singer on the show. We did the Olympics review. So it's given me a good chance just to not have to talk about my own game. However, on Saturday, I decided to, because I knew we were recording sort of this week, and I thought, all right, well, I'm going to have to sort of get out and see.
You've got to bring something.
I've got to bring something to the show. Otherwise, what do I talk about?
I'm feeling the weight of pressure here of having all the rounds to talk about.
So I played 5 holes on Saturday afternoon, and I have to say I still felt very tender in the sternum. Pretty much from the practice net. I hit a few shots into the practice net before I went out, and every shot I hit, I felt my sternum. It felt very tender, and I very much doubt I would have made 18 holes.
That's not good.
No, it's not at all. Very, very disappointing given we're now, well, it's the 13th of August when we're recording. This will get released next week. So, yeah, hopefully it might be a little bit better, but I'm just, I don't know. I'm losing a little bit of faith and confidence that, yeah, this is going to be a near-term recovery. I mean, I did today. I went out to the high performance center and I did a little bit of sort of short game work, and I hit about maybe 10 to a dozen balls into the net, and I felt okay. I felt fine, which is really strange. But then on other days, I've found that I can feel my sternum and I can feel it there. So I don't have a lot of confidence that I can go and play in a comp and play 18 holes and make it all the way around. I mean, potentially I could. Potentially, this is something that will work itself out. But I just, I have this, I guess, fear of getting to 15 and 16 like I did in June. And it rearing its ugly head again.
Because then what?
I'm done for September, really.
Yeah.
I mean, at least at this stage, I'm holding on to some hope of still being able to play in September, but I'm not sure. I don't know. It's actually, weighing a lot on my mind. And
I can tell.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about, of course, earlier in the year, I was quite excited about where my game was, and we talked about a number of times the mental release from getting out of the office and having some time out of the house and having some time for me. Well, I haven't had that for the past 2.5 months, and there is a mental toll that's going on in my head, not being able to get out, and where it's middle of winter here in Australia, so it's it's cold. It's been a pretty wet winter as well. So the weather's not particularly helping that much either, and there's definitely a mental toll of not playing and not being able to get out, and the concern that this potentially may not be a short to medium term, it may potentially be a long-term injury.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally understand what you're saying, and I think the mental, the concern is not just the not getting the release in the short term of getting out there and doing something that you enjoy and, sort of getting the headspace that golf provides, which is amazing. But it's that uncertainty. If you knew that it was going to be 6 weeks and that's what you had to do and then you'd be fine, then that's
Yeah,
fine.
for sure.
But it's
sure.
that I don't know, like how long is this going to be, and I can wait 4 weeks and give it a go, and then potentially be re-injured and it'd be even worse. That I guess that's the scary part, that it's that unknown. But like, have you kind of had it diagnosed fully, or are you still unsure of what is happening?
Yeah, look, I haven't had X-rays or anything like that done. The diagnosis that I've got is that it's either sort of cartilage or soft tissue. And the prognosis from there is that these injuries take a long time to recover. And potentially there's scar tissue there that means there's a weakness, which means that re-injury is, definitely a probability that and a recurring. What I've been given is that over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, this could be something that I'm going to have to deal with, and it could recur.
That's not good.
No. So it's not good. Is
that from the physio that's giving you that advice?
Well, that's the remedial massage therapist, and then the chiropractor that I'm going to. So I haven't actually been to a physio yet, which potentially might be something that I consider. But at this stage of the game, no, I haven't been to an actual physio. I also haven't been to a doctor either. Not that I think a doctor will do that much, but potentially there could be, X-rays or something that could be done.
It'd probably be an ultrasound.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the process is for a soft tissue cartilage injury, but yeah, certainly I'm struggling.
All right. Well, here's the deal, Andy Walker. This coming week, you need to get yourself to a physio and get them to check it out.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, where the remedial massage therapist is, I mean, it's a physiotherapy practice that she works in. So that'd be pretty straightforward for me to. I mean, they know me; they've got my records anyway, so I can just book in and.
Yep, and they know the history of what's happened as well. Yeah. I think that's the go. I think that's what you need to do. I don't because I feel like you need some answers here at the moment.
Yeah, I do, and it's something that I've been thinking about maybe going to see my local GP about. Hadn't really considered the physio, but yeah, it's probably physio is something that I should go and look at as well. But look, I mean, on a positive, my short game still feels pretty good, and my putting still feels pretty good. I mean, the swing still feels pretty good. I mean, there's some rust there. There's definitely some rust there. I've been a bit surprised because I've been doing some short game work in the high performance center off, and you were. I was going to mention this because you said you haven't done any short game work, and we've talked about practicing short game off the artificial turf, which both of us agree isn't really ideal. It's much better off actually practicing short game off grass. However, I've specifically been working on tempo and form.
Okay.
And I found that it's really helped because I haven't really done a lot of short game on grass, but my short game was still in reasonably good shape over the 5 holes that I played. And I felt pretty confident when I was over the ball. So even though it's not grass, I'm sort of coming around to the feeling that maybe doing some short game work in the high performance center just for working on tempo and form might be an advantage. Sort of similar to putting. I mean, I don't think that you can replace putting on an actual green, but putting on a mat, and we talked about this with Michael Leonard, is putting on a mat when you're basically practicing form. So you've got a putting mirror and you're practicing your stroke.
Yeah.
I think it's a similar process with his short game as well, and specifically tempo, because I mean short game there's a lot of tempo in your short game. So working on tempo, working on form, I found to be quite good.
Might be worth having a look at. My main concern has been hitting, more lofted clubs in the high performance centre, has been clearing the net and punching a hole in the gyprock.
Yeah, I don't use the 58.
Yeah.
What I've done is that I've got a 54, I've got a Vokey 54, and I probably wouldn't go to 9 o'clock. I'd probably go to about maybe 8:30, and so just sort of short pitching with the 54. And when I'm going to like your 10 and 11 o'clock, I pull out my 48-degree wedge. So it's not actually it's 46 degrees, it's not 48 degrees, 46-degree wedge. So it's actually it's more of a lower trajectory into, and it's still sort of hitting the top half of the net, but yeah, certainly if I was swinging like that with the 58, it would be clearing the net.
Yeah.
And going in. Well, it's the garage door on the other side of the net for me. But yeah, so it's certainly I think you've got to pick your club rather than trying to hit a more lofted club. But it's still worthwhile. I'm finding, your 10 and 11 o'clock punch swings, which you'd be doing with a 58 or 54 on the golf course. It's still worthwhile doing that with either, and you could even do it with the 9-iron or your wedge. So just to make sure that you're sort of flighting it so it doesn't sail over the net.
I might check it out. I suppose there's no harm in moving the mat slightly closer to the net as well to cut the angle down. So,
how far is your mat away from your net?
About 3 meters.
Yeah, see, mine's a bit closer than that, I think.
Yeah.
I think mine, because I was measuring it not that long ago when I was looking at maybe getting a launch monitor. I was looking at the Mevo Plus launch monitor.
Yeah.
And I think you need, it was 8 feet behind and 8 feet in front. And I just had the 8 feet behind if I put the Mevo right up against the brick
back wall. Yeah.
But I didn't have the 8 feet in front of me. I think I only had about 7 in front of me. I'd have to go back and measure it, but I think that's what it was.
This is the beauty of having the triple garage and being able to go sideways, that you get quite a lot of space.
Yeah. Yeah. Where my garage, it's reasonably big, and it's actually got quite a tall ceiling. However, yeah, it doesn't quite have the depth from the garage door to the back wall.
Yeah.
To be able to make a launch monitor worthwhile.
Yeah. No, I had the same issue with the Garmin R10. So that's why I've gone sideways so I can use it. And I've got plenty of space. But then, if I'm going to be doing short game stuff, I will, in the absence of any other method of practice at the moment, give it a go and see if it helps.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I also think part of it is being able to do it under pressure. Because to the point that you made previously about, the ball striking in tee shots and those sorts of things, I feel I've got that to the point where that's now reliable under pressure, but my short game's not reliable under pressure. I can play the shots, but then I can also stuff them up when it counts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, I think there's something to be said for just forgetting about the target, forgetting about your landing zone, forget about all of that, and just purely working on form. And that's all you're doing. And as I said, tempo and form with your chipping and pitching, and then obviously with the putting mat, you're just working on your putting stroke. I've found that to be quite useful.
All right, there's a plan.
So in light of not really being able to do too much with a full swing, and the other thing that I'm struggling a bit with is that I'm not actually training at the moment because I don't want to re-injure myself, which means putting on weight and not feeling as energetic as what I would have normally felt. So
in
fact, when I was playing the 5 holes, I definitely felt as though I was having to swing around the midsection rather than
the center of gravity's moved out from the spine a little.
Yes, definitely. So
Oh.
something, and look, I'm the heaviest I've ever been at the moment, which is a bit of a worry, but it is what it is at the moment.
Do you think though that maybe adding an element of, resistance training, but light levels to try and build up some strength is maybe a sensible thing?
I did try and start the resistance training again, but I struggle with not going hard.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest downfall, is that I get into it and I want to start actually training fairly hard. So because that's what I've always done. So having to pare it back and just doing light weights, I'm there sort of going, this is a waste of time. Sort of like meditation.
It's not though.
Like light weights and meditation. It's sort of, what's the point?
Because I guess the other thing is like potentially the enormous gut is putting a bit more stress on the sternum, and that could be causing some of the problems too.
Yeah, potentially. I'm not. It's something I have thought about. However, at this point in time, it's just been a thought.
I feel like there's a bit to work on after this episode. For both of us.
Yeah, there is.
Ah, dear. Very good. Well, that was a very interesting discussion. I think the last topic that we need to cover is some tournament preparation from here and what's coming up.
Well, it's interesting, certainly for me in September. So one of the things that I'm targeting. So it's Tuesday today. I am going to try and plan the comp in 2 weeks. So I've committed to that. So the 27th of August, Tuesday the 27th. That's the day that I'm targeting.
Wow.
To have a crack at playing in the comp again, because the Monday after that is the first senior amateur event that I said that I'd play in September, which is the Glenmore Seniors. So that's one of the qualifying for the New South Wales Senior Amateur in November. Not that I'm, I haven't given up, but I think it's highly unlikely at this stage that that's gonna play out. I mean, I haven't played the golf. I haven't done the practice. It was a long shot anyway. After playing it in the Camden Seniors, I thought maybe I'd give it a red hot crack, but given the way things have played out over the last couple of months, I think it's unlikely. However, the entry form for the Glenmore Seniors has come out, so I am going to play in that. That's Monday the 2nd. But I need a comp round before then. So I'm going to play on the 27th. Then there's a couple of local senior amateur events. There's one at Magenta Shores. There's one at Corinda Waters. Then we've got the Carnarvon Seniors on the 16th of September, which was the one that was rescheduled from July. And then the Wyong Seniors is late in September. So I'm targeting a few senior events in September. Whether I'll get through them all or not remains to be seen.
It certainly does. That is exciting. There's a lot happening. There you go. I've also attempted to put my name down for a tournament, Andy Walker.
Yes, I have heard.
Which we should share
How'd you go with it?
News with the Pilgrims. So the New South Wales Country Championships, which is not a seniors event, this is open to all ages, is being played in November, on the 9th and 10th of November in Parks, about 115 k's down the road. The cutoff for that is for handicap indexes of 9.4 or lower. So obviously currently at 8.1. I thought I'll throw my hat in the ring. Depending, of course, on how many applicants there are, that 9.4 might come down. So 8.1
I would have thought you'd
not
get a berth.
Oh, I'm hopeful. But here's where it got interesting. So I went on to the Golf New South Wales portal to try and fill in the application form. and it wouldn't let me fill it in because it was saying golfer does not meet the handicap index required for this event, which was upsetting. So I sent an email to the email address that was at the bottom of the page that said, like for any inquiries, email Emmanuel from Golf New South Wales. So I emailed the magnificent Emmanuel, and I promptly got his out of office reply saying that he was on leave. This was on Sunday afternoon, by the way.
Yep.
Saying that he was on leave till about Wednesday this week. So I thought, I'll just leave that there and, see what happens. He emailed me back at 10:20 Sunday night.
Wow, that's a commitment to the job.
Saying, I've checked it out. Sorry, there was an issue with the master database. I think I've fixed it for you. Please go in and have a look and see if you can register, which I did, and I could, and I did.
Excellent. Yep.
What fantastic customer service from Golf New South Wales.
Nice. Well, they must have lifted their game since the early 90s when I was there or thereabouts, because
it's 30 years ago, Andy Walker.
It is. Look, no, don't get me wrong. I mean, Golf New South Wales, there were some really good things about Golf New South Wales. Well, it was actually the New South Wales Golf Association at that point in time. And look, there were a couple of really good people within the Golf Association, but yeah, there were a couple that left a lot to be desired as well. But looks like that's changed, and Golf New South Wales are going all right.
I'm impressed. So as it stands at the moment, application is in. I'm on the list. The list is pending all of the applicants that they get until applications close on the 20th of October, at which point they will then pick the final field for the New South Wales Country Championship. So fingers crossed.
So is the handicap? So it's the handicap that you're on the 20th of October?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Or when they do the field?
They said at time of, you had to be, all it said is it had to be under the 9.4 at time of registration.
Yep.
Which obviously I was. Now, does that mean that just goes on a list at what that handicap index was then? I think so.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So if it goes up or down from there, does that change my chances for better or worse? I don't know. Maybe we'll get Emmanuel on the show at some point to explain the process to us. So
yeah.
So anyway, we shall see. So in a month or so's time, 2 months actually, it's about 2 months' time, then we'll know if I got in the field.
So it's the 20th of October, yeah?
That's when applications close, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So by then, we'll know if I've made it into the New South Wales Senior Open.
Yes.
If I don't make it, because the New South Wales Senior Open is actually the week before.
Yes.
So if I don't make it, I'll be looking to jump into
the country championships.
Country championships.
And the irony would not be lost on me if it was your late entry that then kicked me out of the bottom end of the field.
That'd be funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be great content. That really would.
Then you'd have to come and caddy for me.
Imagine that. Sorry, you can't play because Andy Walker's now joined the field, but could you caddy for him?
Yeah.
It's a 2-word answer. Yeah, sure.
I think you'd be agreeable to that.
Yeah, sure. There's my 2 words. Anyway, it's exciting. So hopefully that'll all work out. That's something on the horizon to look forward to.
Lots coming up over the next couple of months. If I can get my body back together again and working as it should.
Yeah, well, I feel like you've got a few action items to come out of tonight's conversation. Book into the physio.
Well, once we jump off the recording, I'll jump onto the physio because they've got a whole online booking form. So I'll have a look and just see if I can. I've got to go down to Sydney a couple of times this week, so I might see if I can. Actually, on Thursday, I'm still working from my home office on Thursday, so maybe on Thursday I'll try and sneak in so that next week when we jump on the mics, I'll have some content to talk about.
There's no better podcasting content than just thinking out loud, planning your diary.
Exactly.
Outstanding work. It really is.
Exactly. That's about how we've gone about this podcast, isn't it?
We'll be editing that one in to the episode, so don't worry about that. All right, Andy Walker, I think that's pretty much it for the evening, unless there's anything else that you want to cover. But
no, that's a lot.
There's a lot going on. So well played, Pilgrims, and Pilgrim Dave. Thanks very much for excellent partnership in the Sandy Dunshay Ambrose round 1. We can't play round 2, unfortunately. It's this weekend, but we're not available.
Yeah, right.
But, no, it was a good day out. It was a lot of fun. And Andy Walker, get yourself sorted.
Yes, we'll have to do that at some point in time. Might be 2026.
Let's hope it's before that.
Yes, let's hope so.
All right, Pilgrims. It's been fun. Andy Walker.
Rock out, Pilgrims.
Thanks for listening to us today. For more content, you can find us on Facebook at the Missing Links Golf Show or on Instagram at Missing Links Golf. You can follow us on X or Twitter at TML Golf Show. You can email us directly via the Missing Links Golf Show at Gmail. You can even send us a text via the button in the show notes. We love to hear from our pilgrims, so please get in touch, or better yet, leave us a review on your podcasting platform of choice. See you next time on the Missing Links Golf Show.